You are now about to witness.
Man, good morning. Listen, you know you about to drop some fire when you have issues setting up and about to go live, right? You know, things go sideways. Technology didn't want to cooperate this morning. StreamYard decided they won't have an issue with Facebook. Facebook said we ain't trying to have it. And I said, oh, I got something for you. I'm gonna just reboot and come back live. So I apologize for that. And then I can control we here as always. First of all, welcome to Off the Bench. I am Mark Wiggins. I'm doing the Extreme Business Conference situation training today about how to enhance your business message using your story and your voice. This is what we're talking about today. If you are live in the chats, and hopefully you have caught up with us, go ahead and say hello to me in the chat so I can see what's going on. What's up, Ansa? Hey, Catherine Trout, I see you out there. Again, those who sign up on the Facebook, sign up on the Eventbrite, hope you will swing over to Facebook and track it backwards to see me out here. If not, we'll probably run this later. So let's move into what we're getting ready to talk about first. Before we get started, I want to first tell everybody again as a reminder that I'm hosting my last networking event in the season on October 12th at the PNC headquarters in Washington, D.C. They are the sponsor for this event. It's a motivational networking event. It's myself speaking, two other people speaking, and we're also doing some network at PNC. This is huge for us, for Off the Bench and myself, to get this sponsorship in, to have someone come along with this message as we try to get out. PNC also has a major initiative they're running called 267, and it's a initiative that says, if I have this correct, that they believe it will be 267 years before women's pay will equal men's pay as is projected, and they want to help shorten that by, I don't know, couple hundred years. So if you are a female entrepreneur, business owner, or thinking about being one, I recommend you call PNC Bank to see what they're talking about fully. Or if you got time, register and become a VIP. It's free, but you got to register to be the VIP. Come down to PNC on Thursday and you can talk to them then. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to talk to you about your business and the future with PNC. Next thing up, King Conversations, the book. As you have seen, we're starting to drop the covers for the anthology. It is about ready to be produced. I think we're up to about 30 authors, which is amazing. I was gunning for 25, but look at God going over and above, because this is a heart project. And it's a project that I believe that's great for kings to pass on to young kings and to queens to pass on to their princesses. Everybody needs to read this book. Or you got a son or a daughter, they need to read what's coming your direction. When I tell you, we've got it coming from all different directions, on messaging, on motivation, on it's a positive story to help you grow. This is that book. I mean, it's reaching so far. I know for a fact I have, I think, 2 people who are incarcerated that are writing on this project because they want to make sure that their message gets to people to avoid the path that they're on, but talk about how they were going to regroup and move forward. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. That's what Off the Bench is all about, is helping everyone get to their next level. So we want to make sure that when that book comes out, I think we're going to start pre-sales in December. December, and you can buy your book, and then we're going to launch that thing heavy first of the year, all the way through into which segues into my next announcement. The Extreme Business Conference will be, put this on your calendars, June 22nd, 2024, Tyson's Corner area, June 22nd, 2024. So if you got that out there, lock it on your calendar. More information to come. We will have regular admission. We'll have a VIP admission. We'll have some stuff that's going on, private one-on-ones with myself, and I have some other speakers coming in. We already have confirmed. I've got B. Nathaniel Smith, I just call him Bruce, if you know him, coming in from the Carolinas, the boss leader, and his Nate's Nuggets is going to be speaking. We have Denise, the do-over coach. If you saw the last issue, Denise was on the cover. She's been riding with OTB Magazine since day one. She is a client of mine, and she is excited about coming to DC from Nashville to give her unique message to business owners and to motivate you. So we're going to have some other people coming in from around the country to speak at this conference, and we're really excited about that. Special shout out to, I'm going to get it all the way wrong, Catherine, I'm sure, Strategic Collaboration Network. Ha! I think I got that right. She is my business coach. She is the one who's behind the scenes, pushing the buttons, working like, you know, the Wizard of Oz, and having me in these places that you see now. All of a sudden, if you paid attention, you've seen me more active in my speaking space in a long, long time. And that's part of what I did when I got this coach. Everybody should have a coach. Let me say this again for those in the back. Everybody should have a coach, a mentor to help them along the way. Here's why I say that. There's so many things that I know I can do. I can do everything that Catherine is doing. I know I can do it. I can probably do it better than her, sort of, kind of, probably not in my mind. The reality of it is I'll never do it because that's not what I'm built to do. I can do them, but I'm not built for it, because if you go do those things, you lose focus on what you're supposed to be doing, which is me giving you this content, the Woke Wednesdays, the magazine, the speaking engagements, coaching my clients. That gets watered down because I spend more time growing the business. I'm working in the business as opposed to working on the business. You've heard the antics. So get you a coach. Get you a coach. She has a networking event every first Friday up in Baltimore. I've been there several times. It is the business. And you definitely want to do that. And here's my last encouragement on why you should have a coach. Speaking coach, like myself, whatever. My sister, Dr. Valencia Wiggins, has a coach. She has a psychologist. She's a psychologist. She has psychologists. Pastors have psychologists and counselors. Doctors, my son's in med school. He has a counselor. Everyone has one because you need someone else to do it. So therefore, if all these other professionals are doing that because they know the mental weight that is needed, who do you think you are? Maybe you're not off the bench just quite yet because you need that last bit of push, that neutral push that's going to give you truth, speak truth to your power, and get you moving, because you're going to need to go get a coach. It is what it is. I'm off my soapbox. Make sure you line it up. Catherine Trotter, you are that one. Thank you so much for riding with me. Let's see here. Talk about the news. Sponsors. Let's speak to my sponsors for today. Again, we already mentioned PNC Bank coming out of DC as a sponsor for what we're doing. We're also going to mention CD Tickets. CD Tickets, in collaboration with OTB Events, is a sponsor for all your ticketing needs. Hey, look, if you missed any of those big concerts this year because you overpaid for them, you should have contacted me and contact CD Tickets, because we were lighting them up. Already lining in for next year. Mariah Carey's dropping. We know that Usher, he's lining up. Listen, just watch. If you go to Vegas and do this he did a super long residency. Then all of a sudden, you get the Super Bowl. Well, we know that also Rihanna is probably going to go. She don't drop that baby. I'm sure she's working out right now. You could probably expect to see Rihanna dropping next year as well. We've got those tickets and probably get you some great price points. Check with us first. Hit the fan page over OTB Events and lock in over there. But CD Tickets, thank you for that. And also Cognito Cybersecurity. Cognito Cybersecurity. My boy Nick, he is a sponsor and supporter of us. I'm getting these sponsors and I'm excited, y'all, because this is what we're about in this business world. You need people behind you to help you push your message. And I can only go as far as my network is strong. And now I'm pushing that network to go to the next level. So we're excited about that as well. Let's see over here. Andrew Chapman. What's up, sir? Good day. Thank you for joining in over there. I see you on Facebook. But we're going to try to get through all those areas. Let's see. Good morning. Take them to the reboot. I'm sorry, I'm just reading over here in the chat box. Again, if you are in the chat box, you're live right now, just go ahead and say hi. Let me know you're listening, pay attention. This is going to be interactive for those who are on the line. I won't be able to bring you on like I wanted to because I have to reboot this thing. But nonetheless, we'll keep it moving. Okay. Talking about your business and your message. Well, when you start talking about message, you're talking about speaking. You're talking about storytelling. You're talking about presenting yourself in the market space as that subject matter expert. When you stand up in a networking event or at a gathering or someone asks you, what do you do? That is your opportunity to start to talk about what it is you do. How you do that is important. How you put that together is crucial. And that's what the conversation is going to be about today. One of the things that I like to do to help me keep on task and on message through a whole year is I have a word of the year. If you follow along at home, follow along in hymnals, you know, fourth quarter, I start talking about next year's word of the year, or that you need to start getting it together, or at least thinking about it. If you're putting together your business plan, your vision board, you've met with your coach, you put together your strategic planning and evaluation of last year for this year, you should start the process of thinking about your word of the year. It is critical to help anchor you and bring you back to center. For the last several years, I think last year's word was willing. I use willing as a tool all year. I created a keynote speech off of it, The Willing Leader. I did it at the BCN networking event 2 years ago now. Shouts out to Lita and the BCN network out here in Virginia. Ripped that whole stage down at their conference because I have my word of the year. Are you willing is easy, but are you, change is easy, but are you willing? That was it. Change is easy, but are you willing? So I use that word, helps me focus. This year's word was undefer. I'm still in the undefer mode, which means I've gone back to things I put to the side for whatever reason. Life was lifing, math wasn't mathing, kids was kidsing, relationships were relationshiping, and distractions were distracting, right? Everybody's doing what they were doing. And all of a sudden you go back and you grab that thing that you put off to go start it over. For me, and I said this at the beginning of 2023, I was undeferring the speaker man, not Mark, the speaker man, the persona who speaks. I've been speaking, I've been doing things, I've been working in podcasting, whatever, but there's a side of Mark Wiggins speaker man that some of you don't know because you haven't seen it because of the pandemic or whatever. And that's Mark Wiggins at events. That's Mark Wiggins live on stage. That's Mark Wiggins teaching and training and workshops and seminars. That's the Mark Wiggins that I'm undeferring the speaker man in 2023. And part of that process and that plan required a coach. And you must put that together. So I undeferred a lot of that. I undeferred some more time for vacation. I undeferred time to go see my grown kids. You know, now I got to go see them. And coming home, I got to go see them. They used to come home because they need to get some money, right? I'm coming home. I ran that same trick. Now I get to go see them. I get to make time for myself. And I learned that balance of grind versus taking care of oneself. And it's important, especially when you get older. All of a sudden your body is like, yo, hold on, pimp. We got a lot of work we need to get done right now. You need to see this doctor, this doctor, this doctor. And by the way, you still can't see well. Get your eyes fixed. This is what we're doing right now. This is what we're doing in our mid to late 50s. Things are happening, but you've got to make that time for it. But you also have to undefer what it is you want to get. And if you're going to get into your business and enhance your message, you're going to have to undefer that side of you that will allow you to go and try something new. You have to undefer something that allows you to be creative. You have it in you. You said what you needed to say. I think I was at the BCN workshop last week, 2 weeks ago, and I'm bringing people live on stage. You know, answer the question, answer this, answer that. I'm picking them apart. Boom, 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 boom. But they walked off with a sense of, wow, I didn't know I knew all of that. Well, you do, and you have, and you just need to put it together. So this is what this training is about today, and this is what we're going to get to. Again, if you're looking for that training and for speaker coach training, help you put your message together for your business, I am that dude. And I'll get to more of that at the end of this, and the offer that we have at the end of this presentation. Okay, Dr. Davis is on. Hey, Dr. Davis and Lance Farquharson. Lance, what's up, Fi? I see you out there. Dr. Risa Davis, if you are in Loudoun County, she hates this. She is the #1 pediatric healthy kids practice and facility in Loudoun County, the #1 for like 5 years running. So if you got a newborn, a baby, whatever, she don't take old kids, sorry. But if you got newborns, whatever, hit up Healthy Kids, tell them Mark Wiggins sent you, and she'll call and fuss at me for putting her on blast. But thank you for joining in, Dr. Davis. You're the best. All right, let's get at it. We're talking about enhancing your business message. I got 3.5 tools that you can use right now to develop your message, develop your core message. And when you develop a core message, and this is also part of my training with my speakers, is I'm helping you put together that thing that you're always going to fall back to. That thing, whatever it is. For me and my platform, it's always about getting off the bench. If you go back and listen to podcasts or you hear my Woke Wednesdays, everything has something to do with mindset change, something to do with you and how you're approaching something, where you're trying to go, clarity, fear, all things to do with success, because that's my core message, moving you from the bench to the starting lineup of life. If that is the tagline, that is the core. If I ask you right now, you're out here in the box, write in the comment section, what is your core tagline? If you have one, share it with me right now. Let me see what you're talking about. What is your core tagline? Mine is moving you from the bench to the starting lineup of life. What is your core? What is your business? If you don't have one, right, I don't know, I'm working on it. Or you have something that you've been wanting to do all this time and now you want to move forward with it, put it in the chat box, right? What are you working on? So that's it. When you get your core together, that is a good percentage of the battle. I'm not going to say it's half the battle or 80%, 20%. It's a good portion of the battle. What I find in networking situations is that people become nervous to stand up and say what they do because they're not quite comfortable or confident in how to say what they do. Watch my words. I didn't say they weren't confident in what they do. They're kind of not confident in telling you what they do. And because you that, you feel like, I don't want to do that. And you start going these long rants and stuff and you miss the message. If you can tap into that confidence you have for your business and the confidence that you have in your business and move that over into a speaking situation, speak with confidence and competency, people will look at you and go, oh my gosh, I need that person just on what you say and how you present. But if you're not clear in your core, then you need to make sure that we're going to try to help you find your core message today and get you to that space where the core is the thing that drives you. When it comes to speaking, again, your platform, if you're a motivator or you're talking about life stories, I've dealt with several people who had tragedy and trauma in their life, and they're trying to take that trauma and put it to a message and drive it out to their audience. And it is a job to walk through all the emotions and let them just get it all out in the ether and then smooth that thing down to something that's repeatable and convincing and easily transferable to whatever situation you're in. But that's the message. The core will allow you to speak in any market, any place, anytime, and you just change the wrapper. We're going to get into what core is and how to set that up here in a second, but that's it. So why should you add speaking to your marketing mix? There's really 5.5 reasons. 5.5 reasons why you as a business owner, entrepreneur, hustler, network marketer should add speaking to your marketing mix. Here we go. Number one, it gives you exposure in different markets. It gives you exposure in different markets. Think about this. If you do a video and you're talking about my cousin Carol, she's been on, my cousin Carol is doing some weight loss stuff, and they got this juice and gummies and all, I don't know. But she's putting herself online and you can watch her journey, right? I give her credit for that. And now all of a sudden it starts to move out there. All of a sudden someone from California, she lives in Delaware, is tapping in and saying, hey, how can I, right? It puts your messages in different markets that you don't even tend to be in. My magazine literally goes around the world. How do I know? I watch the dynamics and the data. I got people patching in from other countries. I didn't know that. That means whatever is written in that magazine is showing up over there. Who knows what can happen, but your message is getting out there. But if you're not speaking about it, writing about it, or talking about it, your message is only going to stay in the market that you're in, which is your close network, your friends, word of mouth, all strong, all amazing. But could you do more? What would happen if you put it in other marketplaces by just creating it one time? So there's a reason why you want to add it in. It also creates number two. That was number one, exposure in different markets. Here comes number two. It creates the KLT factor. KLT. Know, like, trust. It creates that factor. If you can know somebody or learn about them, then you decide if you're gonna like them. Once you get to like you, I like you, right? We'll see you, we'll peep you out, we'll watch you, then can I trust you, right? We're talking about a business situation. We're not talking about relationship sides. We're talking about a business market space. We're talking about, do I know I can trust you? Think about the referrals. Think how about many times someone comes to you and says, yo, case in point, there is a new cupcake store in Fair Oaks Mall, owned by a sister. She's got 2 spots, one near you. I ran by her, had her cupcakes. I'm now rapping and talking about her cupcake business everywhere I go. I bought them for work or whatever. Why? Because I spent 30 minutes getting to know her. Then I said, well, you know what? She's pretty cool. She checked in. She wanted to hear about the magazine, so we got a relationship started. I like her. She's good people's. If you got my Woke Wednesday this past week, the message was from the cupcake person about what we're talking about. So if you don't know what Wednesday is, you can say, Mark, I don't know what it is and how can I get it? I'll send it to you. Or you can go, I'm gonna put it up on YouTube and go watch it. But if you watch that Woke Wednesday, it talks about this interaction with Fantema with the cupcake spot at the mall. And because I now like it and taste her food, I see what she's doing. And as the former cookie man, I got to watch and I know I'm watching this mix going down. I said, okay, I can trust that. I can trust the consistency of her product. So now I know I can trust and I become the biggest advocate for her. And I've only bought from her twice. How'd that work? Because when you know, like, and trust, because her story was together and she told a compassionate story that resonated with me. Therefore, when I say to my tribe, because people know like me already, they trust most of what I say. They don't do much of what I say, but they know what I say, kind of like my staff. But anyway, they now, when I say, hey, go get these cupcakes, when they're in the mall, Fair Oaks Mall, oh, you know what? That's what Mark said. I heard your stuff is good. Is it good? And then they're gonna know, like, and trust. That's why you need to add speaking to your mix. It gives people that first level to know you. So it's crucially important that you say what needs to be said in that moment so they can know, like, and trust you. All right, that's it. Number three is it presents you as the SME, the subject matter expert. The subject matter expert. Think about this. If you are a crafter and you do and work with epoxy resin, right? That's a whole beast. It's right for me. Epoxy resin, because I do work with that. Epoxy resin is as evil as Play-Doh. Play-Doh was just nasty. If I remember Play-Doh back in the day, I just aged myself. Play-Doh was the devil. You lay it down, it's stuck and stained every doggone thing. But people making horses and stuff, I made none of that. All I made was a mess. I hate Play-Doh. And so I had to learn how to use epoxy resin. Couldn't do it. So I started watching YouTube University, and all these experts are out here showing me how to use epoxy resin. Oh, use this, get a glove. Don't worry about this, get this kind, not that kind. I'm like, oh, this is too much. But when the expert spoke, I had no choice but to listen. Now, she may not make $1, but she's on YouTube. I watched, and all of a sudden, because she's a subject matter expert on resin and I'm not, I'm going to listen a little differently. So when you get up to speak and talk about what you do, you not become, but you are the subject matter expert at that moment. Real funny thing is when you get up to speak, unless you were in the training session with me, unless you was in the bathroom when I was running down my script, unless you were in the car as I'm doing it, unless you walk around my apartment tuned in on stream on Twitch, watching me work my magic and work my message to where I can make it be what it needs to be, you have no idea what I'm going to say. Zero. So at that moment, I am the expert on the topic. Point blank, period. I got the microphone. Since I have the mic, I'm the expert. Now, you got to make sure you know what you're talking about to be the expert. Let's be out here running it. You got to make sure you know what you're talking about when you're the expert. But you do. You already are the expert. You do what you do. You've got the trainings, you got certifications, whatever. You are that boss leader, as my friend B. Nathaniel Smith would say, boss. So therefore, you are the expert. Make sure you have something to say, Mr. and Mrs. Expert. Know your message and know your core. That's why you want to make sure you're the SME. When you stand up, people are going to listen. The chances are they're looking for what you have and an answer that you're going to give them to a question they didn't know they need to ask. That's what the subject matter expert does. And then they'll come to you, right? Just imagine this. So you go to school and it's professional career day. I think that's what they still call it, career day. And you go in and you are the local car detailer. And you're talking about chemicals and chemistry and how this works and what will happen. And I clean this car. You got pictures of Maseratis and Hugos, wow, I'm just went way back on the Hugo. But anyway, Hyundai, Cadillac, and you got all these pictures of before and after and what you've done with these cars. And the kids like, because what kid don't like cars and motorcycles? And they go home, and what happened in school today? I don't know. Some dude was talking about chemistry and cleaning cars, and my car's filthy. Who was that? That was Mr. So-and-so. Mr. So-and-so cleans it because that's what he cleans. That's what his little line was. Here's his car. Here's information. Boom. All of a sudden, the subject matter expert, that child came home and said what you said, put you in different markets that you're not in. And all of a sudden they know I can trust you because your kid liked you, what you had to say. And anybody who can make my kid inspired, I like them. Right? I like anyone who can inspire my kid besides me and they get to move and they're excited about something. I like them. See how that worked? It just rolled it all the way back to exposure to a different market. So you have to make sure you're the subject matter expert now. Number 4, it shows a deeper dimension of you. We know you as the person. People knew me as a cookie man, or now the speaker man. But there's several other layers to me, and you don't get to see that unless you see me speak, unless you see me on stage, unless you hear me be somewhat transparent. I'm transparent. No, you're not. Stop lying. You're sharing enough that you feel comfortable with. Even when you get to the other uncomfortable spaces, you ain't telling it all. Go do that. I tell you enough, right? So you get that. It shows a deeper dimension. Oh, wow. Not only does he fix plumbers and pipes and stuff, but this guy actually played college softball and he's got a whole team over here that he's training. So now all of a sudden, I see you as a human, not just somebody trying to sell me something. I hope you caught that. I see you as a person who has a business, not a business who happens to be a person. You got to have them both. And that gives them that deeper dimension if you do that. Number 5. Number 5 is increases your goodwill. Remember, these are 5.5 reasons why you should add speaking to your mix. We ain't got to what we're talking together. This is the setup. This is the setup. Why you should add speaking to your mix, and that is number 5, it increases your goodwill. When you can increase goodwill, it kind of goes back to the number 2 of the know, like, and trust. You can't buy goodwill. You got to do things to earn goodwill. You've got to sponsor the local team. You got to sponsor the local fraternity, and they do the New Year's Eve gala, Kappa Alpha Psi, New Year's Eve gala, December 31st in Virginia. Anyway, shameless plug. When you support as a corporation or a business to these organizations, they see what you align yourself with. That's why you watch corporations split when these athletes do dumb stuff and they don't want to be affiliated with it because it affects their image and also affects their goodwill. Because I see that you're tied to some craziness that I make an assumption, and we know what that does. I'm pulling back. Well, if you support that, then what else will you support? But if you stand up to that, then what else will you stand up to? Then all of a sudden, I think I like you a little bit more. Ask John Morant. Jesus. Hopefully he gets it together this year. $40 million drop because he want to be baby gangster. All of a sudden, I don't see the goodwill there. Now he got to work super, super hard, not to play the game he can play so well. He's a great player, but his image is banged up. So now he's got to go back and reestablish goodwill by the things he does, how he shows, what he says when he's in front of that microphone. So there you go now. When you now speak, you got a platform to try to repair your image or enhance your image. But I'm also going to look about what you do. So if you're a business and you're not connecting yourself or endearing yourself to the issues in your community, that what you hope be true, whatever they are, don't particularly care what they are, go stand for what you stand for. That increases goodwill in the community and goes back to know, like, and trust. So when you speak, you see what I'm saying? It's kind of moving together right there. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. Here comes the point 5. The point 5. In fact, let me go back and review them. Number 1, exposure is different market. 2, creates the know, like, and trust effect. 3, represents you as a subject matter expert. 4, shows a deeper dimension of who you are as a human. 5, increases your goodwill. Here comes the point 5. Free promotional plug every time you show up. Think about that. Free promotional plug. Well, it's great to have your logo on stuff. That does speak silence, especially if it's a good one. Oh my God, what is that? That gives me an opportunity. But think about this. You're coming on to the Off the Bench podcast to have a conversation. Now, normal people will read your bio. Normal people will read your bio and go, oh my God, we've got Shane Jasper is on today. Shane is a great person and company, and they make a widget, and the widget is what you need to have. Shane is awesome. Go to Shane.com. Shane is it. Shane's the, see what it did? In that bio, in that write-up, another person just spoke about Shane. I don't even know Shane. We'll see you on the line. What's up? And Shane, or what business is, Shane is now getting all this free publicity on my podcast that lives on the ether forever. And all of a sudden, I'm back to number one, exposure in different markets, right? Now, you come on my podcast, I don't do bios, so you're short, but you're really not short. It's actually better for you if they don't read your bio. Let me tell you, let me give you a little backdrop. We got some time today. The reason I don't do bios is because someone a while ago read my bio and I heard it and I said, dear Lord, that's boring. I've done way more than that. They didn't say that right, but that was on the paper. So imagine if you don't have your bio done on the paper. And this is back when I was doing my own bio. See what I'm saying? Back to letting someone else do you because that makes it better. I wrote my own bio and it sounded like trash. I was like, dear God. I was like, so next time somebody, hey, you know what? What do you want to say in your bio? No. Don't say my bio. Just say Mark Wiggins, the speaker man, and let me handle it from there. And like the light bulb went on. I said, well, who sounds better reading my bio than me? It's mine. I can look at the crowd. I can adjust what I want to adjust. I can highlight what I want to highlight. I can change what I want to change depending on the market because my core is my core. I can do all those things myself. You're going to just read what's on the paper and that's it. There will be no fluff. So I was like, never mind. I'll do my own bio. And so now I give that opportunity to speakers when they come on, or guests, because I'm not saying to be a speaker, or guests when they come on the bio. It's a shtick for me. Hey, I don't do bios. Go ahead and tell the people what you want them to know about you so we can hear it straight from you. Oh, okay. So you give me a chance to speak. I'm gonna be in different markets. I get to make myself the expert, right. I get to give a little deeper dimension of me. I may even tell you that I was, homecoming king at the University of Alabama in Huntsville, all facts. And that was in my bio. But I'm talking to this different group. So I'm saying, so that's why I don't do bios. But as a speaker, as someone who's about to speak, you need to be prepared to drop all that information when you're given the opportunity. Because again, who's gonna say it better than you? Why would you trust your message to someone else? Why would you trust your bio to something else? I get in certain situations they're going to do it. And even then I go back and I make a joke of it like, well, who are you talking about? Because that definitely wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? But that's me. I use humor. That's mine. Don't copy me. Just find your lane. Right? That's my speaker stuff right there. That one's for free. So, all right. So we got it. Let's go back over it. Number one, exposure in different markets. 2, creates the know, like, and trust effect. 3, presents you as a SME, subject matter expert. Shows a deeper dimension of you, increases your goodwill, and the 0.5, a free promotional plug every time you show up. Now, who doesn't want that? That's what you need to have. I'm gonna go over to the chat box. Oh, let's go. Let's get Shane. Hey, Steve, Larry, what's up? What's up? In the box. Again, if you have a question, I see people dropping in the chat. Drop your tagline. If you're a speaker, your business. I'm sorry, this is not a speaker training, but it's trainer about speaking. I get caught up. If you're a business, entrepreneur, hustler, Etsy creator, content creator, drop your tagline in the chat. Drop your tagline in the chat. Let me move over here. Answer. Josh from Sumter? Is he from Sumter? Why are you trying to act like he's from South Side of Brooklyn? That was last year's discussion. Answer. Yeah, he is from South. That's what people were tripping on. Like you don't even represent that way. And you trying to be gangster. I found one of the, side note, because I was watching that whole story because that's what I do. When a real gangster calls you out, it's kind of scary. A real life gangster went on and said, yo, player, you ain't about that life. But if you want to be about that life, we can help you out. If you keep talking that smack, what you're going to find is you're going to be paying us for protection. I was like, when did he invite you in? He invited him in when we started acting the fool on social media. He tried to present himself as a subject matter expert on being gangster. And then the subject matter expert got on the line and was gangster. So you got to be careful what you put out here, and people are watching you. So anyway, that was my John Morant live action discussion. So anyway, put it out there again. Drop your stuff into the chat box and we'll keep it moving. So here's the first question. What is your message? We can start right there. What is your message. If you don't know what your message is, then we kind of need to start there. What are you talking about? And in this particular training, workshop, encouragement, your message is what you do and why you do it. Somebody write that in there in the box. My message is what I do and why I do it. That's the message. If you can cleanly put together those two thoughts, you're a good percentage of the way of being able to stand up at any given time and drop your message and work on enhancing your message while you speak. Everybody has an opportunity. Think about getting an interview in the paper. Think about, again, you're on a podcast, you're on a live, you're on a Facebook live, you're on whatever, and you're being interviewed. That is your chance to drop your message every single time. And every single time it does what it does. But if you're not clear, then all we get is maybe some sales pitch. Maybe we get some anecdotal type story, but it doesn't connect. It's not resonating with people because you hadn't taken the time to put together those two and practice that out and make sure that it works for you. So if you want to write your message in the timeline over here, what's your message and why? All right, so my message, I'm going to move you from the bench to the starting lineup of life. Why? Because I believe that you don't need to ask anyone for permission to succeed. The only person who needs to give it is you, and you haven't given to yourself just yet. That's it. That's the message. That's my message anyway. That's what I'm running on. That's my platform. And when you are putting those together and lining them up, I just want you to get how much power you all are holding, how much power you're withholding by not taking time to put your message together for your business. You could shut down a whole lot of the mess in the room once you get your stuff together and become confident to stand up and deliver. It open all kind of doors. Trust me, I know. All right. Anything on the pipeline? I see that. All right, anyone jumping in? All right. All right, cool. All right, now let's move over to the 3.5 ways to enhance your business message, which is what we're supposed to be talking about today. Now, other stuff was just a precursor. Now, if you are getting into my trainings, we would go way deeper in that. Would spend probably 2 or 3 sessions digging in to get those items to the earth, right? Get them up to the ether because you've been holding on them, you're sitting on them, or maybe they're swimming around in your head. You can't make it make sense. It's really kind of what needs to happen when you're doing it. I don't care who you're working with. If they're not spending time helping you to get that out of you, dare I say, you may want to reevaluate that relationship and what you're asking them to do because maybe they aren't clear about what you need them to do. I'm not saying that no good. I'm not saying I'm better than everybody else. I'm good at what I do. I'm just letting you know wherever you're going, if they're not doing those things, then give me a call. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, all right, let's go 3.5 ways to enhance your business message. Number 1, tell a better story. Work on becoming a better storyteller. Ask you right now, if you're in the chat box, write this down. Who is your favorite comedian? Right now, who, or in the past, who is your favorite comedian? And I believe I can put this thought to you so you can completely say what I'm about to say. Who's your favorite comedian? If you want to write it down, tell me who your favorite comedian is in the box. There are layers to you. Yes, Catherine, there are layers to you. Uh-huh. All right, let's go. So my favorite comedian right now is probably have to be Kevin Hart, followed by Kat, and then Eddie Murphy. And then, don't get mad, Bill Cosby and Sinbad. What those 3 have in common from my perspective is they tell a vicious story. They have a way of winding you in to a punchline that you may or may not know is coming. And this artful, skillful way that they can do those things and draw you in, humor, flatline, truth, fiction, enhancement, storytelling is crucial to their jokes. Their joke and their funny is not necessarily a joke. We think about the old comedians, they're dropping punchlines. Red Fox, Richard Pryor, like they drop hard drop, almost knock jokes, right? They come in with the heat, but they also told stories, and sometimes they're long, elaborate, and then they reference that story all through the rest of the act, the rest of the day, and bring you back to a point they dropped in the beginning. Is how they close it down. That's amazing to me. I love watching that. I've studied how they do it. I've studied great speakers, and if you watch them, all the great speakers tell great stories. Even for those who do church, the better preacher tells an amazing story, can wield it together, can make sense, can drop in and hit you across the head with all kind of facts, and then wrap it all together and tell you this is what it was. You go, that was great. Stepped all on down your road and all on your toes. But you have to tell a better story. And if you can do that, that's also a great way to enhance your message. So how do we start to do and tell a better story? All right, number one is the core. And I spoke about this earlier, but let me give you what core stands for. Right, y'all write this down. Content, organization, research, and execution. Content, organization, research, and execution. Let's start with the C, with content. For me, content is the stories, right? What is our main message and why? What supports that story and what supports that thesis and why? And the stories that go with it. So if you go back and tell a story, if I told you, I think when I did this 2 weeks ago, I jumped straight into my presentation telling the story of how I became the Cookie Man. And then how I became the Speaker Man. And then while I was speaking, they didn't know I started my story. They didn't know I had started the presentation. I jumped straight in with the story, and I told the story about falling out. We got the little booklet, wanted to have a business. The wife at that time wanted to have a cookie store. I wanted to have a laundromat because my daddy had a laundromat. I never made cookies before, but I wanted my own business, and we went at it and had this business, right? And people were just enthralled, like, wow. And when I hit end scene, wait, you started? Yeah, I started. I just told you a great story. And when you tell them a great story, a couple things happen. One of the things I know from a speaker perspective, if you're telling the story of a speaker is really, really good, A, there's no noise. B, everybody's like this, leaned in. They're waiting for the next word. So if you're not a great storyteller or a decent storyteller, I might suggest you work on telling stories. There's some people that can tell great jokes, but the good ones tell great stories. I remember dealing with in my daily job, these old pilots. You probably heard me talk about them too. From they flew the A-12 spy plane, which up until about 15 years ago, the CIA denied that it was their spy plane. Everybody knew it, but the CIA said they ain't our plane. Until I say it's ours, they ain't ours. And so finally, they unveiled that was their plane. Ooh, shocker! But the pilots, oh, these old cats could tell a story. It would take all day, and you just sitting there like this. Mark, I'm flying the plane and it's smoking on the outside. And like, oh my God, how did you do it? How did you do it? Well, I'm hungry, right? We can't stop to eat. So I take my sandwich and I put it on the glass. I said, why would you put it on the glass? Because it's like we're flying Mach 1. It's hot outside. It's heating up my sandwich. And so my sandwich got greasy and put grease in the window. I'm like, what does that have to do with flying a spy plane? It was nothing to do with flying a spy plane. It was just a funny story. But the fact of the matter was, he was talking about how fast they were going. But these old cats, American heroes, I don't use the phrase lightly, they did stuff that didn't people do. In 1967, they're flying a handmade plane that was subspace Mach 2, 3, somewhere in there in the 60s. And they would always tell a story. Everything had a story. So I had to learn that. So we'll get the content stuff. So back to you and your story. The content is that you're getting your stories together as well. I'll say a story. I have a story that has a long arc. But inside that arc, there's certain sectors of that story that are used different times than when I speak. So if I'm telling I'm giving you all some of my speaker tips. If I'm telling the story of how I learned, how I began to become a speaker, right? That's our part of the arc is in the story of the store. The cookie story is in that arc. But then there's a sector where the lady came in and asked me to speak at her class, and then I spoke, and then I was bored. And I said, well, God, if you don't have me to speak, I need something to say. We moved over to motivation. So I can cut that depending on where I am. Some of that stuff is irrelevant, some of it is necessary. But if you don't know the whole story, then you don't have any content. So you have to put your stories together. If I were to ask Dr. Davis, she's still on the line, about her story of becoming this pediatrician, she would tell me her story. Med school, whatever, the decision, the what happened, the off the bench moment that moved her into that space. So that her arc of that story is pretty long, but she can chop it down to different stuff. So for you, you got to get the content together. That's the heavy part. Then we want to organize it, which is the O of things. How are we going to organize this stream of consciousness into something that's compartmentalized, repeatable, and effective? That's the organization part. Again, all the stories don't get told every single time. You may step on stage and have 55 minutes to tell a story. Now I'm stretching stuff. I'm giving you the whole story. Or you thought you had 50 minutes and they go, Mike, you got 7. Sorry, what? Hack, chop, chop, chop. Get up a networking meeting. You know, everyone has 5 minutes. Like 5 minutes is an eternity to say what you do. And you sweating on that 5 minutes, and you start telling stories. All of a sudden, you oh, and by the way, I cut grass. Thank you so much. What was your name? You're so busy in the story, you forgot to tell everybody what you do. So you got to be able to adjust on the fly. You can only do that when you have all your content together and you've organized it, right? So the R of this is the research. Why I call it research? Well, I want to make sure, number one, that the story was accurate, because things kind of change over the years. You ask me now, I average 29.5 points a game in college. It's not necessarily true. I probably was about 8 or 9, some boards. That's about it. But over time, things kind of modify. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that his research is accurate. You also want to research to make sure that the story you're telling is what you really want to say. And what's the message in the story? So you do research on what you lay down. And then execution. If you want to tell a great story, just like a great comedian will tell you, got to practice that thing. You got to practice. If you're not engaging your whole senses, I tell my clients when we're working on training, if you're not engaging all of your senses when you practice your speech, you ain't practicing hard enough. Talking about practice. You're not practicing. You're just saying, right? You need to run all the gamut. I need to be sweating, out of breath, forget lines, keep it going, reboot, look in the mirror. You better be doing all that thing in execution. So when you stand up, it's flawless to the audience. You still make some mistakes, but they don't know. You look convincing, right? So that's core. And again, when you're working on this, you're working on your message to enhance this thing. As a business owner, you need to spend some time, just like you do learning your product. There are people, you spend a lot of time becoming an expert. But when it comes to your message, it's kind of, we just kind of put it to the tertiary. It ain't secondary, it's tertiary. You need to put some time to that, right? Own your story. This is the second thing inside of Tell a Better Story, is own your story. It's your story. So own it. Tell what you need to tell and tell it with conviction, right? Own the story. And then the number 3 thing inside of this, and I believe this to be true from a speaker perspective as well. Again, it's a business. If you start talking about how you got started, whatever, I only care about a couple of things. The audience only really cares about how did you get over? Think about that. Think about this. When someone comes up to you and asks you about business or your job, what do they ask you? How did you get started? What type of challenges did you have? They don't come, can I see your P&L? What's the profit margin? And what's the ROI? How much y'all spend in marketing? What's your cost of labor? Huh? They don't ask those questions. Should, but they don't. We want to know how you got over. That's your job. So you need to tell them how you got over. Because in the telling of how you got over, that also positions you as a subject matter expert. Do you want to know how I got over and learn how to make cookies? Let me tell you something. It was a journey. It was a hard fought. I actually have a cookie making degree from Cookie University on how to make cookies. I learned how to make dough from scratch by the vat, not by a little KitchenAid mixer. Y'all, that's cute. That's cute. I'm rocking an 80-quart Hobart mixer and throwing it in, pop, 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 making it in my hand and decorating stuff. My handwriting's atrocious, but I can decorate something really, really good. That is true. So, you know what I'm saying? How did you get over? Well, I learned this, I learned that, I learned what I delegate, blah, blah, blah. I got better management skills. I went and learned. I got a coach. I trained my staff. That's how I became successful. That's how I got over. That's what people want to know. So in your story that you're owning, let them know how you got over. That's a great part of it, because at the end of the day, that's what makes you different. That's what makes you great. And that makes you stand out from everybody else, right? All right. So part of our other part of a story is giving examples. When you're telling a good story, you definitely want to give examples. Again, great comedians, great stories give you vivid descriptors of what's popping and what's happening, and you got to be clear on these things, right? To be clear, engaging, and memorable. Inside your storytelling, it has to be memorable. Again, my shtick is humor. I use it as a weapon. You may be not. That's not your thing. Well, what is your thing? You're very academic. You drop these numbers and you run them down, and people are going, "Oh, mine is amazing." Or like me, I guess if I can make you laugh, I know I can disarm you a little bit and then hit you with some facts. I tell the story, one of my classic stories, about the Impala, not the car, but the animal. And one of the things I talk about is trying to make this example of what an Impala is and how it relates to where you are in your life. You know, I tell a story about the morning where the Impala gets up in the morning and they get together and they tell each other, "Hey, get together. Hey, everybody, we're going down to the East Pond today. Got human intel that the Gators are going to be in the West Ponds. We're going to go to the East Pond. And only two rules to this thing today. Number one, got to survive till tomorrow. And the way you survive is you got to be faster than the slowest Impala. Rule number two, don't forget rule number one. Boom, boom, let's break." Then I switch the story over to the lionesses getting together, right? So lionesses are getting together, like, "Hey, everybody, get together. Listen, we've heard from intel and counterintelligence that the Impalas have bought our intel and are going to go to the East Pond because they think there's no gators there, but the gators are actually in the East Pond. So we're going to go hunt and we're going to go to East Pond and catch an Impala. Ladies, we got to bring it back today." And where is Mabel? Mabel, why is Mabel always late? She comes in, look at her hair. Look at Mabel's hair. Is that orangutan Mabel wearing? Girl, it's not orangutan season. It is gorilla season. She's in gorilla hair. I don't understand. And so I do stuff like that in my stories because it's engaging. People are like, "Ah," I got all the way to the end, tell about the Impala, and I drop this line, and people go, "Wow, is that me? Am I really capable of jumping 10 feet in the air, 30 feet, 60 miles an hour, but I sit behind a 7-foot wall? Is that me? Is that, see what I'm saying? You got to tell a better story. I kick off with that one, right? I'll mix that in somewhere because it drives this point of where we are on your own bench. So you have to be engaging and you got to be memorable. This comes down to stage presence. This comes down to how you present. So if you're in that 5-minute window of doing networking, integrate, do it in 4. Be concise. Don't be speeding through. Be concise. Leave them wanting more. Leave them like, "Wow, he really said that in 2 minutes. That's impressive." But I wonder what else he does, though. They said they do flooring, and then they said they do IT work as well. Huh. I ain't gonna talk to them. It's memorable. Those are the things you have to work on as you try to enhance your message and your business speaking. Again, I'm giving you speaker training this morning. Sounds like a speaker training. It is, because I need you to be able to be speaking better. Everybody say better when you're talking about your business. And this is going to help benefit you in different markets. All right, the next thing we need to do is know your audience. I think I alluded to this earlier. You need to know who you're talking to. If you are unawares of who your audience is, you're doing yourself a disservice. Certain things need to be said to certain audiences. Different examples. So going back to core and my content research, I'm grabbing stories and different perspectives from that arc of a story or different stories together. This is the same, but I'm wrapping it with something different. I'm speaking to teenagers, passion. I'm not going to give them too many hardcore business stories that give me the same end, right? The same end. I'm not giving that story. I'm going to roll it back to something a little bit more life, more story. And if I'm talking to athletes, got you covered all day, every day. I don't care how old I am. Everybody understands a certain few things about training and conditioning. You understand it. It's a known fact. Learn something else about gaming. Talk about that. So you have to know who your audience is. If you're going to stand up and talk about your business and you're in a space where you're in cybersecurity and you stand up and talk about it, how can you make them understand what it is you really do and why they need you? Hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm in cybersecurity, and now what you think about, it's not just a government thing, it's your thing. Do you know that sometimes when you don't do this or switch that off, whatever, all that's cybersecurity. So you need to check your stuff and check these, check that, and third. And then you know what? My name is Nick. Come check me out. We talk more about it. That's a great intro. That's a great intro because you brought it down to where I am. But if you're in the government space and you stand up, well, we specialize in insider threat. We specialize in this. We specialize that. I don't even know about insider threat at home. But I need to know it in a business perspective. I need to understand that. I should be in that mind frame. So you have to know your audience. And if you don't know your audience, again, you're doing yourself a disservice. And then you won't present yourself as a subject matter expert. Being able to work the thing up and down. I think I was in Baltimore up at Catherine's spot. What's it called? The Oasis. What is it, Catherine? What you call your place? The Oasis? Drop it in the chat so I can call it right up in Baltimore. And there was a gentleman there who was I think it was a plumber. No, he's an electrician. He was an electrician. And he stood up, he said what he did. He said, my name is so-and-so and son, yada, yada, yada. I said, wow, that's interesting. He's somebody's, he's a son to somebody. That means there's a dad involved. So we got to chopping it up. I said, well, do you and your father work? No, my son. He's 5 months. I said, hold on, pimp. You don't call you so-and-so and son, and your son can't, well, he can hand me a wrench. I said, but now I can't forget it, right? Was that not memorable? That was classic. He has a father and son business, and the son is a few years old, but it don't matter. It's a great talking point. It's memorable. I haven't forgot it, and it's been at least 3 months. But one of the things we're talking about in his storytelling and engaging his Oasis in the City, thank you. It's called, I can do this now, watch this. Oasis in the City. Thank you, Catherine. He was able to do this. So I wanted to give him a tip on enhancing his pitch. And I said, again, you need to know your audience you're working to. I don't understand current, cross current. I need to know, is it on? Is it off? If it works, will it charge? That's what I want to know. I said, why don't you talk about the old houses in Baltimore that you're in? Because I was dealing with something at home with my mom's house where the electrician went in and changed one of the boxes in the basement, right? And he had the boxes. We had to screw in steel fuses. House is old. So we fixed the box downstairs. That's great. But there was still a problem upstairs. Mama said the lights are going out. What do you mean, Mama? We just got the box fixed downstairs. I called the guy back out. The electrician's trash. What happened? Go find out what's going on. Lo and behold, my pops, who built the house, so smart, so smooth, put up a second box. Upstairs in my room, behind something that no one knew existed. We never talked about the house, y'all. We talked about the house, but not inside the house, so the schematics of the house didn't know it. So they found the second box. So I said, I gave him that story. He said, oh, yeah, that's true. I work with a lot of old homes. I said, here's something you could say in your spiel to present yourself as the expert and make me want to talk to you. Listen, if you got an older home in Baltimore, you're buying these brownstones, watch out for two things. Number one, the wiring is probably not what it needs to be up to code, number one. Number two, there's probably a second box somewhere. The last 4 houses I worked in, there was one in the basement because there's multiple units and there's one upstairs. Most people forget about the ones upstairs. So when you're doing that, blah, blah, blah. He dropped free game. But he became the subject matter expert on electricity and brownstones in Baltimore in that setting. See what I'm saying? So you got to know what it is you want to talk about. But if we're not spending time, I'm going to keep going back to this, you got to spend time reviewing what it is you do and why and how are you going to tell me. Everybody get that? Or you out there in the chat, say you got it. Put that in there. I got it. I got it. And again, if I were able to pull people in right now, I would pull you over and have you come tell a story. I can't do that right now, so we're going to keep it moving. All right. So let's see. Know your audience. Again, know who's in the room. And before you get to speak, another tactic or skill that you should have in the network environment or whatever is listen to what's being said. Even if you got someone in the room that's doing exactly what you do, you should definitely listen to what they say and find the gaps and jump in them, right? Listen to how everybody's talking. Listen, see who's going too long. See how people are reacting when they start talking their story. When I did my I was at the BCN workshop last week, And I'm doing live training, right? I'm live firing it across the bow. I ain't cutting no cards. This young sister has a global school, and she gets up, and the task was come up and tell us why you started this global school. She didn't quite get the message, and she began to tell her story about how she got started, and she went on and on and on and on. I'm thinking I need her to breathe. I need to catch a breath so I can jump. So I'm foolish. I have no sense, right? I'm in the back trying to keep it light. I could see people getting uncomfortable, and she had lost herself in her emotions. She was gone, and because she was feeling and believing and reliving everything she knew about her business, because that's her passion. So as soon as she went, I said, hold on. Sis, love you to death. I can see your passion, but you kind of went a little bit too long and you lost the room, and we're not sure what you're talking about. But I love your passion. We can get you to shrink that thing down. As a matter of fact, if we were training, I'd let you talk until you ran out of breath. And then I'll go back and pick it out and put it all together. We can make it work for you as something more efficient. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, no. This is practice. This is why we do this. This is the one. And I commend you for giving yourself and putting yourself in this position for coaching, because you have to be willing to be coached. If you are unwilling to coach, you then won't change. It's hard to have someone critique you. Listen, I've been speaking for a long time. It's hard to have someone say, that was trash. What were you talking about? You lost it. But I got friends who say that to me. I got real friends. And I cry real tears when my stuff is not where I need it to be. But that's behind closed doors, because I'm working on my message. You got to do that. So listen to the crowd and then speak their language. The electrician was talking about, ohms and meters and work and potential. And hey, ho. Let me go get my son, Marcellus, the young king in med school. He likes that stuff. Son, tell me what he's saying. I need a translator. I need a translator. Don't need it. That's it. That's the word for this morning. Don't need a translator for what you're saying. Do not need a translator for what you're saying. That was good. Someone put that in the chat so I can remember this later. Don't need a translator for when you're speaking. Meaning, speak their language. Speak the language. Don't speak your technology unless you're in the tech room with other people, your peers, and they need you to speak their language. We can see what you're talking about. But when you're amongst the lay people, use layman terms. Bring it down a little bit. Dumb it down. Works better that way. That's classic. Don't need a translator when you speak. I'm going to add that to the thing. I think my cost of my training just went up. That was a good one. Y'all got that for free today. All right, so let's keep it moving. Speak their language. Remember, this again, some things to keep in mind, 3 rules. Know the room, listen to what's going on behind you, and speak their language, right? You be the translator, don't need one. All right, we're talking about the things to talk about today. Anyone else join the chat over here? Reese is watching, Dan's watching. EDS is watching. I can't. I'm gonna say. I see you out here, sis. I can't. I'm afraid to say it. I'm gonna jacket. I'm gonna say, oh, you know who you are. What's up? Oh, thank you for joining us today. All right, we're talking about the point 5 of this. We're talking about the rapid scene. We're talking about practicing, and you kind of heard me allude to this a little bit more and time again about practice. I don't know of any other way to improve your skill set in anything outside of practicing. If I were talking to high school students or now college students, the gaming generation, the techno natives, the ones that have grown up watching, Twitch and everything, you can talk to them about repetition, but they won't understand it. If you tell them, it's like when you play that game, pick one, you got to know the current game that they're playing, and you die 7.4 million times before you get to the next level. Oh, yeah. Same thing. You got to keep doing it. How do you get to the next level? I keep practicing, but you're dying. I know, but it's just temporary. I'm gonna go back. I failed. I remember where I failed. Point. Go back and speak their language, and you elevate them to the next level, right? That's how you speak to young people. You go speak their language, and then you elevate them to the next level, but you got to know what you're talking about. Sometimes you have to go in and be the old dude in the room. And what's that thing in the Jake that y'all do? That gaming, what's EA? Oh, come on, Mr. Wiggins, for real. I know what I'm saying. but it's funny. They get a chance to make fun of me. I got you because I know who's in the room. I know who I'm speaking to. And then I elevate him and hit him with some facts. Oh, he does know what he's talking about. Absolutely. I know what I'm talking about. Or if not, I'm going to lie about it until y'all figure it out. One of the two. So practice. If we were doing our live slideshow, I got a picture of Allen Iverson with a classic line. We talking about practice. Not a game, but practice. Yes, Mr. Iverson, we're talking about practice. How do you practice your skills? How do you practice them now? And is that sufficient for you? 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, whatever. I'm learning a new skill set. I become obsessed with trying to master that thing. I become obsessed with trying to become efficient with that thing. I may never master it, like back with the epoxy resin, like my friend in Nashville, Shay Myers, is a master on epoxy resin. I just need to be good enough to get it done. It's not my thing. But speaking, I'm a master. I put the hours in. I put the reps in. I put the practice in. I'm ready for situations. You should not be caught not ready to speak. You should not be caught not able to talk about your business precisely and on time and anytime. You should be able to do that. But once you practice that, you're gonna get up and stumble and fumble and then be nervous and then I say that and you're gonna leave stuff out and practice helps reduce that moment of anxiety to a level of competence. I think I can't pull it right now. There's three things. There's conscious, incompetent. Anyway, I'll get back to you on that one. There's this thing where you are aware of what you're doing and you stink. You have to be thinking about what you're doing and you're not effective or efficient. Then you become a little bit better at it, but you're still off. But then there's a next level where you're unconscious competent and you can deliver. When you can do it without thinking, you're unconsciously competent at what you do, meaning I'm not present when I'm doing it. It's a reaction, kind of like in sports. When you practice sports, you are conscious, incompetent, conscious incompetent, meaning I'm aware of everything that's going on. Left dribble, right dribble, shooting, follow through. I feel the ball in my fingers. I feel my body's upright. I feel everything. You feel all of that. I got this rebound. I see the timing. I got a time. But when you're in the game, you don't have time to think. You're unconsciously competent in what you're doing because you spend enough time being aware of what you're doing. Okay, I'm circular. You get it now. That's practice. And if you really want to add speaking into what you're doing to make it be effective for you, to give you a leg up on the competition. For those on this call right now, you are now effectively, you've been given the tools and the insight to become better, everybody say better, than your competition in this space. I just gave you the sauce. It's one thing to walk into the room and know that you're better than everybody else in what you do, in service or whatever. Like, I know I'm better than him. I've seen that stuff. They got 2 stars on Yelp. I got 8. Sir, I only have 4. I know, but I got 8. I did it twice. I'm better than them. Okay. But the 2-star gets up and lays down a presentation that you can't deliver. And all of a sudden, I begin to like them because I know them and you drop the bag. You may be better, but who knows? I think one of the things that kept me from where I needed to be, I'm sharing with you right now, another reason why I got a coach, is the one thing I know that has kept me from being where I want to be as a speaker is marketing. Or the lack of marketing, the lack of pushing me out and doing this and doing that, right? You want to go toe to toe? Sure, we can do that. We can go toe to toe and speak. I'm like, I'm like Dion, confident. I'm dripping confidence, right? You feel uncomfortable around someone who's confident about what they do, and they're not talking about what you cannot do. I'm talking about what I can do. And if I'm not 100% certain of my skill set, then I'll believe anything you say. But I know one thing for certain is you're not going to outdo me. Just not. You're not going to outwork me. You're not going to outdo me. I didn't get to college to play for free because I was the best player in the city of Cleveland. I was not he. I wasn't the best player on my team. If you ain't on the line, Aaron Cockrell, and Paul Wilson. They were better than me, but they never outworked me. Never. That's how I got to college, to play for free. Had nothing to do with what I was scoring, top scorer in the city, and I was all conference. Let's get that clear. I was a champ of conference. I did that. I did those things. Facts. But I was not the best player. And every time we get together, I'm reminded that I was not the best player on the team. And all I keep saying is, well, who got your rebound so you can keep shooting? Oh, okay. Anyway, in the discussion. So when you're putting it all together, you got to practice. So when you're practicing, let me give you a couple things you can do to practice if you're serious about it. If you're really serious about getting your message together and getting better, say better, practice everywhere, record yourself, and then review and edit. The Washington Commanders, because I'm in DC, had to watch that film from the game the other night with the Bears. They had to sit in the film room. Or maybe it was so bad they do what the coaches do. It's so bad we didn't even watch it, because I don't want that to be the last thing you remember. But if you really want to know how you're doing, watch yourself. I record myself speaking. I got audio. I listen. And I go, ooh, ooh, ooh. It landed well, but I didn't feel good about it. That's you. That's the internal thing you got to do. All right. I mean, I know I'm in the speaker training mode. This is what I do. But I believe this, if you can grasp this and put it to your business and start practicing yourself and challenging yourself, you too can stand up and deliver and enhance your business by opportunities to speak and be able to be more effective. Even if you get a chance to speak on another topic somewhere, you stand up to speak at the local community event. It is, let me pick a name. It is Larry Hinton. Larry Hinton here today, and he's here from betterproductservice.com, a master widget maker, to talk to us today about self-awareness and health mindset. We just heard about Larry's business when he got up. Larry just got his business name shot out all over the earth. And Larry gets up there and talks really, really well about mental health, balance, and business, or whatever. It has nothing to do with his widgets. Nothing to do with his widgets. It has everything to do with Larry. But Larry also does widgets. So if I can trust, I can trust him over here, chances are he's probably pretty good over there. Or there's an opportunity to find out about him over there. This is why speaking is crucial to enhancing your business. And I hope you all will take that part and get it to your business and make it worth your while. Let's see anybody say anything on the line over here. Steve, what's up, Steve? Appreciate you joining in. So that's it. Those are my steps. 3.5 ways to enhance your business message. They are. Let me run back because I remember what it is. I'm off in a whole nother space right now. 3.5 reasons. 3.5 ways to enhance your message. Number one, tell a better story. Use examples, know your audience, and practice. That's it. Now, let's wrap this down today. For those of you who stuck around, and again, technology had me not do something different today, because I would have pulled people on this Zoom, this call, to those who were bold enough to come and share. How are we going to get better if we don't get out here and practice? But since we couldn't do that, I'm going to get to my next offer. I am in a space where I'm training and training speakers more, and I'm loving it. I'm loving helping people pull their message together. The Core Speaker Training Program is that program. If you are sitting on this call and watching it now, you're watching it later, there's an opportunity, and you've been wanting to speak, and you're like, yo, Mark, I've been wanting to speak, but I just can't get it together. I'm the one you want. You're the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who's got a message that they've been given, but they don't know how to put it together. If you got one together and you're speaking, you want to get better, I can work with you as well. That's awesome. I'm gonna probably drive you a little bit harder than I do someone trying to pull the message together. I'm still driving hard though. But to watch someone pull it together and make this thing that they are representing and will represent going forward is amazing. To watch the lights come on. That's the thing that I do. And you come into my program, my Core Speaker Training Program, you're going to learn how to create your best message for you, tell better stories, use opportunities to sell yourself in spaces and markets that you don't present yourself in. You're going to be in my magazine. You're gonna be in my podcast. I'm giving you platform to practice, and we're gonna learn how to develop evergreen content. I like to call it the Prince effect. Like Prince got music still involved that they just stumbling over and trying to put into some type of digital format that he just threw away, and that would be hits because he's no longer here, but he had it already done. Your stories are already done. Your message is already finished. You just haven't put it together yet. I need you to have some evergreen material. Because if you dig back on me, I run it, thanks to Facebook, and they be run those messages. Hey, remember this from 5 years ago? First of all, who told you I was there? Number two, how would you get there? Oh, I posted it, my bad. But thank you for bringing it back. And I listen to it. I cringe sometimes. I'm like, oof, I'm a whole lot better. That's me. But the message is still the same. It's still the same. I've been running off the bench for a long, long time. Different shapes and forms and fashion, but off the bench is the thing. It's my platform. What's yours? And I'm going to teach you how to deliver your message every single time, how to dominate the stage and walk off as a subject matter expert so people go, I need that person again. That's the speaker training program. If that's something that you're interested in, that's something you want to get into, or something you want to train into, hit me up after this, hit me in the DMs or inbox. I'm on Facebook, hit me in inbox, and let's talk about it. Let's get you in a one-on-one. Let's talk about the program. I'm getting ready for the next cohort to start the beginning of the year. And because I've got so much going on in June, if you get in my cohort, there's a chance I will throw you on stage in June. Ask Stephanie DeBerry, ask some of my past clients. When I did my Off the Bench live, my Off the Bench birthday edition, the people I was working with, I did that for them. I didn't do it for me. I celebrate my birthday the whole month, but it was my give back. Someone said, Mark, you're going to give me your stage on your birthday? Well, isn't it my birthday? I can do what I want on my birthday. So yes, I'm giving you my stage. Rodney Burris gave him my stage. Winter Harris has been on my stage. Y'all watch Winter. She's like all over the world doing her thing right now. Winter was on my stage, and I was on her stage as well. So yes, this is what I do. But I'm going to train you so you can go and keep going further. I got a call back. Write this down. When you talk about training, you watch people grow. One of my young speakers, little Skylar. Skylar is a seamstress like nobody's business. She's been sewing since she's about 9 or so. 9, 10. I met her about 10, half 11. Her mother said, I need you to help my daughter and get her message ready to go speak. I said, she's like 11. But she was an old 11. I said, yo, what that people say, you've been here before. And she's just not sewing stuff, y'all. She's sewing stuff, outfits and stuff. She outfitted Lady Chairman out Loudoun County. Oh, her name escapes me right now. Her name is Lance. What's the chairman? Loudoun County. I know you're out here watching. What's her name? Oh Lord, she's gonna kill me. Anyway, she made for her state of the county presentation. She made her outfit at 12. Anyway, she started teaching. She's been teaching, training. Her mom called me the other day. Said, "Hey, we got a speaking gig for Sky. Sky is now 16." And just want to talk to you about some pricing, whatever. Call back for information, right? Whatever. Yo, she was speaking for AWS. AWS had something going on where they brought 600 kids together, and she was a keynote speaker. 2 breakout sessions on sewing or whatever, and she got to do that presentation. Do you know what it's like to get that call back and say, hey, can we boom, 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 and I need some consulting on pricing and boom, 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 and you're able to give that back to someone that you trained? Yo, this is what this is about. So I say all that to say, if you're ready to get your message together, I am probably who you want to talk to. So hit me up on the inbox and we can talk about price. What is the name over there? Let's see. I'm hearing anything comments on the comment line. Okay. Again, a reminder, the fourth quarter. Work on your word of the year. Start meditating on a word that you want to resonate with you. If you have a word this year, I may use I'm deferring again next year. I may not be finished. I'm deferring stuff. We'll see what I come up with. But I'm gonna say I'm running that word all year. And if I'm not inside that word, then I'm probably not producing like I thought I should be or could be. So I'm challenging you to put your word of the year together. We'll come back and do that live piece and talk about the word of the year. And then I'm gonna try to hold you accountable, as you should hold me accountable. Mark, what's your word of the year? Are you on deferring still? Probably. I'm over here watching ESPN or something. but I need to be undeferring some stuff, right? And somebody needs to defer some stuff, like my procrastination key. I need to lay that one down somewhere and leave it alone. Everybody has something that we need to get rid of. But let's undefer some things the rest of this year. Still got time, still got to lock it in. Definitely connect with Catherine Trotter networking. If you're in the DC metropolitan area, DC, Maryland area, definitely hit up with Catherine Trotter. She is that one. It can help you get your business all the way together. And we appreciate you for that. I'm definitely going to shout you out wherever I go. Okay. That's all I got for you today. Again, I appreciate you hanging out with me for this time. This is the first time I've done a full long training like this. It won't be the last time. And I'm going to do, as I always do, leave you with a thought. If you know it, you can sing along with me. And maybe one day it'll sink in, and maybe one day it'll be the thing that drives you to go do what you need to do. If you can reach your dreams with a stepladder, then they're probably too low. I'm out.